Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Once again, today we will be discussing two issues. The first is what is an image CDN and why a e-commerce platform or website might want to consider using one. And secondly, we will talk about how to implement an image CDN. Your hosts today are myself, Ken Jones. I am the Vice President of Marketing for Scientia Mobile. I have over 20 years experience in telecom, mobile technology, and web optimization technology. And I'm joined today by two of my colleagues. The first one being Yonan Seteres. Say hello, Yonan.
Hello, you're getting better and better every time pronouncing my name. I am Jon Arne Sætterås. I am a Norwegian. I'm the Vice President of Innovation and Products at Scientia Mobile.
Excellent. And we also have George Orango here. George, do you want to?
Hello.
Hey.
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is George Orango. I am the account executive for the Americas, and happy to be here.
Excellent. All right. So why use an image CDN? Let's take a quick look at some of the dynamics that are underlying e-commerce today. Load time is a large problem for a lot of e-commerce platforms. Estimates show that about $40 billion of lost sales occur because of slow load times, particularly on mobile devices. Load time is directly related to sales conversions and bounce rates. Users expect pages to load within 3 to 5 seconds. This area, this shaded area, shows that. But the reality is that the average mobile load time in the USA and other developed countries is actually somewhere between 8 and 10 seconds, or an average of 9 seconds. This disconnect between your expectations and actual performance results in a high bounce rate, low engagement, and probably most importantly, a low sales conversion rate. An image CDN can help accelerate that by reducing the payload that is delivered to websites. Less payload means faster load times. And that means that you can increase your sales conversion rate, even though it might be a very small sliver of your transactions. It's quite possible you can double those by implementing an image CDN. So what is an image CDN? Well, we like to think of it as three different parts. The first one, which is the one most people are familiar with, is a content delivery network. So a content delivery network focuses on pushing content as close as possible to a requesting user. Typically, CDNs do this by having edge servers and having many points of presence all over the world. The idea is that you can store or cache content closer to the user and reduce the geographic distance required to deliver it. And also, it helps to reduce the burden on the company's origin server. So you're not always going all the way back to New York City if you're selling to a customer that's in Mumbai. There are several problems with a traditional CDN, though, especially when it comes to images. A traditional CDN does not know what type of device is coming to it. Therefore, it usually defaults and sends a much larger image than is necessary. And that leads us to the second part of an image CDN. It's a device-aware edge server. The edge server will identify what type of device is coming to it and requesting images, and will know all the capabilities of that device that impact image quality. This includes things like the operating system, the screen pixel density, the screen resolution, and its support for next generation image and video file formats. For example, WebP or JPEG 2000 are two new image formats, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. And finally, the third element that you need for an image CDN is the image optimization itself. A image CDN will leverage the device detection that it's receiving and automatically resize and compress and convert large original image files into an optimized image and deliver it them using those next generation file formats like WebP or JPEG 2000. These images are specifically tailored to the devices, and frequently this can lead to reducing and saving image payloads that are delivered to devices by up to 80%. So why might you want to use an image CDN? Well, if your website's slow, pretty straightforward there. But one of the main reasons, if you have a large percentage of your payload that you're delivering to your end device is images, then you might want to consider an image CDN. And if you take an average of all the payload that's being delivered, about 50% of all the images is related to images. The average website today is about 2 megabytes, or the average web page, I should say, is about 2 megabytes. So about a megabyte of that at least is related to images. If you can shrink that down, you can accelerate the website. If you have a lot of images, hundreds or thousands of images, you might want to consider an image CDN, because trying to use other techniques to tailor those can cause a lot of work for your developers and a lot of code bloat as you try to predict and accommodate a lot of different devices. If your website is dynamic, if it's always changing, if you're adding new products and you find yourselves adding new images related to those products, you might want to consider an image CDN, because it automates everything. It simplifies your workflow. If your customer base is international and you're sending images around the world, having an image CDN that can position images as close as possible and deliver them in a dynamic and optimal way to your end users is important. And finally, if your customers depend on mobile networks that are traditionally slower than landline or Wi-Fi based ones, then it's a good idea to look at an image CDN. So how do you measure the benefits of an image CDN? Well, there's a balanced scorecard would drive you to look at both operational metrics and your business impacts. On the operational side, payload is one of them. So one of the benefits from an image CDN is that you get about 80% smaller image payload. And then you can also reduce the time to load a page by several seconds. These days, there's many different flavors of speed. We won't get into those today, but you can look at the overall time it takes to load a page, but you can also look at what they call the first or largest contentful paint. So when do images start to paint on the display? We can measure all those, and image optimization helps to accelerate all of them. But there are also business impacts that are very important. SEO is driven in part by image performance. Google takes into account how quickly a web page will load and ranks your website accordingly. The faster you can get it to load, the more likely you are to be at the top of the list. The bounce rate, you can track how many people hit your website and abandon. If you can make the website to load faster, then your bounce rate will go down. Conversion rates and increased revenue follow that. And finally, on business impacts, there are the return on investment you'd get from an image CDN could be measured by the simplification of your workflow. You will get fewer people working on image optimization, and you can reassign them to more strategic elements. And finally, you can probably lower your costs associated with the content delivery network, because typically content delivery networks charge based upon the amount of payload delivered. As we deliver an optimized image, you'll be looking at a lower bill associated with a smaller payload. So really quickly, let's talk about how ImageEngine works. The first step is that a requesting device will come to your website and request the image. And we're able to insert our ImageEngine hostname into that path such that the image request gets redirected to our device-aware edge servers. And once it hits that edge server, we have to make a decision. We'll check our cache to see if we've already dealt with this image before. And if we haven't, we'll go back to the master image and pull it. And we'll take that master image and tailor it specifically for the requesting device. So if it's a Samsung S8, we will know all the specs associated with that device and compress the image down and deliver it in a format that's appropriate to that. And then we'll deliver it from the edge server. In this case, if we're delivering to a Samsung S8, for example, we'll be delivering it on a Chrome browser, and we'll probably convert it to a WebP, which is a very efficient file format. And 98% of the time, when these requests come in, once the cache is primed, we're delivering it from the cache. So it's a very efficient and fast system. So what makes this a little different than what you might see from other CDNs or image content platform management platforms? It's a simple one-time integration. You can take, Jan-Arne will walk you through this, but you essentially get an image host name and insert it into your platform, and it ends up prefixing or inserting ImageEngine into the path. Our servers are device aware. We've talked about this before, that we very quickly know the best way to deliver an image. You could leave your images in their current location. There's no need to upload all your images to the cloud or move them from where they are. We can deal with your images wherever they sit today, whether it's on your web server, whether you have a AWS S3 storage account. There are a host of different ways that we can tap into where your images are and not cause you any more work. When we resize for devices, the typical way that other vendors might do this is they'll take 3 different approaches. They'll go mobile, desktop, and tablet. And that leaves a lot of suboptimal delivery or optimization when it comes to delivering images. And finally, we can identify iPhones more effectively. Our device detection not only identifies iPhones, but knows how to convert things into a JPEG 2000 or JP2, as you might know it, file format, which is a much more efficient file format for the Apple Safari browser. And then the last thing is that we use artificial intelligence to closely monitor the compression rate that we apply to every image, such that we keep the quality just above what is perceptible to the human eye given each individual device. So what does that look like in terms of what we, in terms of the compression rate? So for WebP, so that's the Chrome file format that is a next generation format. We typically, on average, take an image and we'll provide about 79% smaller or 79% savings. When you look at Safari requests, most of the time we'll get about 71% smaller. In certain instances, we actually leave things in their original file format you'll see here. But even when we do that, we apply compression and can optimize them and keep them there. Then the last part of this is GIFs. GIF is a very old file format, but it has some popularity when it comes to animations. But that's not really the most effective and efficient way to deliver that payload. We can on the fly convert those either to MP4 or animated WebPs in order to provide a much larger savings rate. Okay, so ImageEngine can provide all those sort of performance improvements, but right now I'm going to hand it over to Jon Arne and let him walk you through how to get started. And let me stop sharing here as I flip over and let Jon Arne take control.
Yeah.
Let me remind people if they have any questions, go ahead and click on the chat window and go ahead and type those things. Or actually, wait, there's a Q&A button. Either one of those. Pick your poison. Q&A or chat, and we'll monitor those and try to get to the questions at the end of the call. So Jon Arne, take it away.
Yeah. So if you see my screen on the screen now, I am on ImageEngine.io. That's the web page of ImageEngine, and I will now take you through how to get your hands on a free trial account for ImageEngine. It's 60 days free trial, no credit card required, so that you're able to kick the tires of ImageEngine. Also, we'll have a look at the configuration options of ImageEngine. You'll get access to a control panel where you can tweak and tune and adjust the behavior of ImageEngine. And also, lastly, we'll have a look at how ImageEngine can be enabled on Magento. So let's start with getting an ImageEngine account. I have, for the purpose of this demo, I've made a little web page here. It's not a Magento site, but it could have been. It's just a static HTML page with some product images on it. I will copy the URL of this page because I need that now when I click the free trial button. So now I have started the process of getting myself an ImageEngine account. I will insert the URL or domain name of my website here before I click continue. And now I have to sign up to get a username and password and things for logging into the control panel. You can do that either by GitHub and also Google, actually. I don't have the button on my screen here, but you guys should have. Or if you have a Sentry Mobile account from before, like I do, you can also log in using that. And the next section here is where we pick the origin of images. If you see here, I have a drop down with the same domain name or same URL that I just pasted into the first step, and this is where my images live. You know, the root domain of my product images from this page. If you need another origin, you can type in whatever origin you need here and then click the complete configuration button. But for now we'll stick with the Netlify app that I made. Then I click the button, and we see here now that I've got assigned an ImageEngine hostname. This is unique to me, to my account. Looks something like this. There's a hash first, and then cdn.imageng.in. And if we for now just copy this, I'm copying this on my clipboard, and then I go back to my shop here and opening this image here in a new tab. We see here that this is the domain name that I provided during the account setup process. But if I exchange this now with the ImageEngine hostname that I just got assigned and hit enter, I'm now displaying this image through the ImageEngine CDN. So that's all there is to it. You have an ImageEngine account, you have an ImageEngine hostname, and now you're serving images through ImageEngine. And this image is truly optimized. And of course, the next, the very next step that we'll look at in a moment is to figure out how these image tags in your markup, the HTML, is actually updated, because in here you also need to put the ImageEngine hostname that you got through the sign up process. But before we go there, I'd also like to show you how, or I can actually click follow through this process. View my control panel. Then I click this this button, and I'm able to and I should be able to log in here. Hold on. And I get access to my control panel. So I have more accounts here than you normally would have on first sign up. But let's pick one here and see how it looks. We see here that I have a list of domain names and origins. The origin here we recognize, it's the Magento demo site, and we also have a few domain names here. This is the automatically generated one, and I can also add new, more custom-looking domain names with not the cryptic hash version like above, but I can add images like this, and I pick an origin, which is the same that I already provided before, and now I can now I can like Ken mentioned in the very beginning here, I can configure my DNS to make this a record, this domain name point to the ImageEngine version of the domain. So it's basically an alias for the original domain name. So we're using a CNAME record in the DNS for that purpose. And also, in addition to managing domain names and origins and things in the control panel, we can also manage how ImageEngine behaves by default. We can adjust cache settings, time to live settings. We can also adjust image size and image quality. So if we need very high or higher than default visual quality, we can adjust that using this scale. So the visual quality increases over here, and the file size decreases to the left. We could also force a specific size on all the images, and we can apply more sharpening. And there's a lot of stuff here we can tweak and tune. Also, origin timeout might be useful if you have a slow origin, and also decide which image formats are available or should not be available, and so on. So yeah, it comes with a lot of powerful configuration options. Also, there's of course statistics, and of course cache purging and cache management available here. Now let's move over to the documentation section here and see how oops, that was the blog, sorry, and see how ImageEngine can be enabled on Magento. We have a section in the left menu here called Integration Guides. There's Magento 1 and Magento 2. We'll focus on Magento 2 for now. We have two options, like you see here. There's a configuration option and there's a plugin option. I'll go through the configuration option here first, because this is also the method that we actually that we recommend, because it's quite easy to enable ImageEngine through configuration. And at this stage, we sort of assume that you already have an ImageEngine account up and running, including the ImageEngine hostname that we just got. So the first thing you do is go to your admin panel, click Stores, and enter into the configuration. And then we're looking for, in the web section here, we're looking for the base URLs, both the base URLs and the base URLs secure. And this is where you input the ImageEngine hostname that you got through the sign-up process, or if you have your own custom domain, a CNAME, like we also saw in the control panel, you input that in the base URL for media files. And yeah, if you're serving over HTTP, then it's the base URLs, and then if it's secure traffic, HTTPS, which most web shops are today, then it's the base URL secure field. Yeah, and after saving the configuration, you might need to flush the cache in order for the setting to take effect, and then you'll see that all image references, all image tags in the markup have changed from using your domain name of the web shop to using the ImageEngine hostname, and then you should be up and running. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And now a little bit more on the plugin. The plugin does exactly the same thing. It changes these two settings in Magento. There are a couple of ways that you can get a hold of this plugin. It's available on the marketplace, the Magento marketplace. And how to download and get it from here is described in this article here. There's also another option. You can use Composer to install or download and install the component on your Magento instance, whether it's local or whether it's on the cloud. So the package here is available on packages.org, and what you do then is in your settings, you basically add or in your packages file, you just add the ImageEngine plugin like this through Composer. So let's see how to enable or you configure the plugin. Yeah, so assuming that you download this from the plugin store, you go to System and Web Setup Wizards, Extension Manager, and then you'll find after hitting your refresh, maybe you'll find the ImageEngine module in the list down here. So it says Center Mobile / Magento 2 module IO. And this is the one that we need to install, and we do this by clicking the install button over here. Then we're checking the status here and the module manager, and if everything is green and everything is on here, we're good to go. and the module is installed. And here's how we install the module, like I mentioned, through Composer, and also we use Magento command line tools here to enable the module. Configuration, very similar to how the settings are configured. We go to stores, configuration, and then at the top of the list there we'll see send to mobile and image optimization by ImageEngine. The UI there is very simple. There's a flip switch here to enable and disable the module in production, and there's the ImageEngine media URL, and this is the ImageEngine hostname that you put in here, or it's your own custom CNAME if you have that. You can use either; it doesn't matter. Whatever is more convenient for you. So put it in here and save the configuration, and this does exactly the same thing as the base URL configuration setting in the configuration option there. It exchanges the website URL with the ImageEngine hostname in your image tags, and that's basically all it is to it. I mentioned that we do recommend using the configuration option simply because the plugin, adds a level of complexity. There's a third-party tool changing or managing the settings of the Magento system, which it works. It does the job, but it's not strictly needed. It's only for convenience. So if you like convenience, then it's the plugin, and if you like efficiency, then it's the configuration option. It's really from a technical perspective, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's about it, Ken.
Excellent.
Are there any questions or comments so far? No.
Haven't seen any yet. Once again, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put in the Q&A or the chat window, and we'll get to those. Actually, Jan, if you want to stop sharing, I'll start to share my screen again. And let me quickly walk through a couple of a case study here. One of our case studies here is LiveSpace. They are a furniture e-commerce platform, and they have used ImageEngine for over a year now, and the benefits they've seen are pretty sizable. They have reduced their image payload by 89%. So on a monthly basis, they were delivering 2,500 gigabytes or 2.5 terabytes of traffic would have been their original payload. With ImageEngine, we were able to save them about 89% of that payload with no impact on the quality of the images. And today they're serving about 250 gigabytes per month. Now, the better metric here is to look at some of the business impacts. They've seen about a 2% increase, or I mean a 2x increase in their conversion rate, which has led to a much higher revenue, especially on mobile visitors. They're based in India, and a huge portion of the Indian audience there uses their mobile device as their primary device. So they saw a 7% increase in the share of revenue coming from mobile visitors. In terms of SEO, they've seen a 230% increase in the number of queries that are coming from their top 40 search keyword results. So that means they've gotten much higher rankings for the most important keywords for their industry sector. And then, of course, some of the user experience. They've seen a 20% reduction in the bounce rate and a doubling of the time that people that stay on the site stay and look at different web pages. So really quickly, just a couple of ImageEngine frequently asked questions. Can I use my ImageEngine with my current CDN? The answer is yes, you can. Typically, we find that the most effective thing, however, is to kind of portion out the images and let ImageEngine be the primary content delivery network for the images element that you're doing. There might be other reasons you're using a CDN, for example, security. ImageEngine actually does provide much of the security that you'll find in a standard CDN. So there really isn't any need to for images to put another CDN in the path. I don't know, Janar, do you want to provide any technical detail there?
No, I think you're doing good. Yeah, nothing
Okay.
to add. Yep.
In terms of images, do I need to move my images around? Do I need to upload them to a cloud? No. You can leave them right where they are. A lot of people who are familiar with content management platforms think that in order to use a system like this, you need to put them into the cloud. No, you can just leave them where they are. We'll find the origin for all your master images and deal with them accordingly. Does it support HTTPS? And yes, we can provide HTTPS, and we can provide customized domain names. Jonar kind of put this there in passing that, typically the ImageEngine hostname is a hash with the ImageEngine and a path that you can insert into your platform, but we can actually customize that for you. It requires getting some certificates approved, but it's not. It's a very common thing that a lot of our customers do. How much does it cost? That's usually something that people want to get to. We have 3 different platforms. The first one is a basic platform. This is designed for professional websites or blogs that might need faster web performance. We charge about $49 per month for that. It includes 100 gigabytes of smart bytes. So when we talk about smart bytes, we use that terminology in order to distinguish between what you might be serving today with your original unoptimized format and the what you will be delivering with us, which is a smart byte. And you've compressed and resized and delivered in a more optimal way. So we're providing you with 100 gigabytes of that in the basic plan, which, when you're looking at up to 80% savings, that's actually a fair amount of payload traffic. With that, you can get the global CDN. You can get the ability to take it to client hints and HTTPS, and you get the statistics associated with all of your traffic. The next package up is the standard plan at $99 per month, and that includes 250 gigabytes of smart bytes. It also allows you to customize your domain name. So you can take your ImageEngine host name, but you can also add in 3 different custom domains with HTTPS support associated with them. Then finally, there's the Pro plan, which is really tailored for high traffic e-commerce websites that really need fast global performance and potentially security and analytics and support associated with it. A fair number of our customers are on this Pro plan today. The pricing scales to meet the usage volume and the requirements they have. So you'll have to contact us, and we'll work with you in order to get this established. Yeah, that is kind of the 3 levels that we have. And let me stop here and see if anybody has put in a question. from the panel. Actually, I'll stop my share so I can. I don't see any questions there or there. Okay. Well, thank you very much. If you have any further questions, you can contact us, and George will probably be the one getting back to you. He can field and answer most of your questions. And our technical team is always available to also consult with you and make sure that we can get things set up and provide you that effective trial that will go for about 60 days and prove to you the value of ImageEngine. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. And if you want to contact us, sales at imageengine.io is a good way to do it. And we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.